got a threat of rain here in the Miami area. Very humid, as you might expect. We've had rain showers all weekend long. It will stay at about 84 degrees. Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. The Chiefs won the toss. They have deferred. Miami will receive rookie Jarvis Landry. He is deep back. He's out of LSU. And Cairo Santos, who's been in the crosshairs of the two Chiefs losses so far with missed field goals, a rookie free agent, will kick it off. It's the Chiefs and the Dolphins, and away we go from Miami. And Landry will bring it out. Breaking free, and finally, Owens slowed him down. Santos tried to get him, and then eventually brought down by rookie Phillip Gaines. A 39-yard return. Which takes us to the quarterback, now in his third year out of Texas A&M, Ryan Tannehill.
And Kevin, I really thought he showed overall improvement a year ago, but now in just his third season, he's forced to learn a new offense with completely different system and terminology, verbiage under his new coordinator, Bill Lazor. He has struggled the first 2 weeks.
Lost last week in Buffalo for the Finns. It's first down and 10. This is Wallace outside. Clay tries to give a block and ushered out of bounds by defensive back Marcus Cooper. It is a gain of 7 to about the 46. Brandon Albert played a long time in Kansas City, signed a big-time free agent contract here. They hope it happens for the rest of his career, manning that post. And as we talked about, Lamar Miller is the man with no Sean Moreno out and injured. It is second down and 3. And Miller with not much there, and Tamba Hali and Poe and James Michael Johnson all in there making a stop. No gain on the play. Poe is the guy in the middle, and a guy that drew great praise a season ago. He has a good matchup with Satelli, the center today, for the Miami Dolphins. Houston with a couple of sacks, and Tamba Hali on the other side. Watch the edge rushing there. And Ron Parker will take the place of the injured Eric Berry. Injured the ankle against Denver. Didn't practice all week. He was the leading tackler. It's third down and 3 for Tannehill. And he's got Hartline on a slant. Brought down by Cooper. Picks up 9. Taking the ball to the Kansas City 45.
And notice how quick Tannehill is getting the ball out in these first couple throws. They don't want Tamba Hali and Justin Houston to get started. They feature a lot of quick screens and these quick slants to kind of get them going. Slow down this edge pressure of Kansas City.
His speed is something else. Good catch right there. So 2 completions of 9 and 7 on the first drive. And this is Miller, who takes it inside, brought down by Allen Bailey, and picks up 3 to the 42.
Kevin, you mentioned Tamba Hali inside. He is a big, strong, powerful man. And of course, Tamba Hali can come off the edge. And this is why they're so unique. They have a great nose tackle in obviously Dontari Poe, and they have 2 edge rushers in Houston and Hali that make it very difficult to set your protection.
Second down and 7. There's a block by the rookie James, and down goes Tannehill, and brought down by Richie, you were just talking about, Dontari Poe. The sack back to the 45, and he'll lose 2 on the play.
And they actually try and double him with the center and the left guard. He still beats the double team and is able to come off for the sack. And again, he is a big man inside. And where they're vulnerable, Kevin, I think, is the interior of that offensive line. They've got 2 tackles that they really like in Brandon Albert and Jawan James. Where they struggled a week ago against Buffalo was at the center and guard positions.
Chiefs have the nickel. Gibson in the slot. Third down and 10 for Tannehill. Miller again into the teeth of that defense. Tamba Hali is there. Wraps him up. Shy of the first. Picks up 4 to the 41.
Well, we talked to Bill Lazor on Friday, and one of the things he said is we've got to be patient on 3rd and long situations. We can't turn these 2 edge rushers loose. And one of the things that may help us is the ability to run the ball in some of those situations. We saw him take a shot at it right there.
So here's the first punt, and special teams were a carnival last week for the Miami Dolphins. Brandon Fields, who had 1 block, had a couple of shanks in the game in Buffalo. He'll send it down to Frankie Hammond Jr. Trying to keep it in play. down, and beautiful play. Wow. Davis, the defensive back, jumped on the ball, keeps it in play. They'll maroon the Chiefs at about their 2 on a 39-yard, well-placed punt. Alex Smith will take the field. Played one of the best games as a Chief last week in the loss to Denver. He's on deck next in Miami.
They're back here in Miami, and the Dolphins won't be surprised to see a pass in this situation. You go back and you study Kansas City inside the 5-yard line, backed up 82% pass in this situation.
They got 3 tight ends. First down and 10, Niall Davis. He'll dig his way just a bit. He's brought down in the play by Wheeler. He picks up 3. He's out next to the 5, and Alex Smith will have this group in front of him. Ryan Harris is the 3rd different right tackle they've had here in the last couple weeks. Because of injury, he'll be their longtime Denver starter. Travis Kelce emerging last week in Denver. He may be someone they can work against the safeties and the linebackers of the Dolphins. Take a look at Jamal Charles, inactive today because of the sprained ankle. High sprain. I thought we did practice late in the week. 2nd down and 7. Smith dropped. They were going for Davis. He had a lot of white defensive jerseys around him, including guys like this. This is the strength of the Miami defense, led by Cameron Wake. Already he's been the NFL Defensive Player of the Week with a couple sacks on Brady. Week 1 on this field. The linebackers, and Jelani Jenkins is in there. They missed Koamisi, injured it out today in the linebacking core. And pretty good secondary, especially the veteran cornerbacks, including Brent Grimes. Rich thinks he's the best cover corner the Dolphins have. They'll be tested now, 3rd and 7.
Pro Bowl a year ago. He's very good in press man-to-man coverage.
It is a timeout for the Chiefs as Alex Smith will confer with Andy Reid. Now, Rich, you told us watching tape of what Smith did last week in a losing cause at Denver. You thought it may have been one of his best games as a Chiefs quarterback.
Well, Kevin, I thought he was so good at avoiding the rush. You know, when you really break the film down last week on the road in Denver, I saw him escape at least a half dozen would-be sacks versus the Broncos. He's got cat-like quickness in the pocket. We saw him just a few minutes ago avoid a sack. And you got to be able to keep plays alive, something he does a really good job of. And for Miami, the key is going to be keeping him in the pocket. The big plays show up when he gets outside the pocket.
As he did on that last play, just had somebody drop it.
And it's going to look a lot different to Alex Smith without number 25 in the backfield, Jamal Charles, who bails him out of those situations all the time.
5 in the secondary, including Delmas. It's 3rd down and 7. They go outside to Fasano, the former Dolphin, up the sideline, banged out a play across the way. Davis was the one to knock him. 13-yard catch and run. Flag thrown. Jeff Triplett is our referee here in sunny Miami. The gain was up to the 18.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. The Miami bench. The official on the sideline ran into the coaching staff of Miami. That's a 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Much to the chagrin of head coach Joe Philbin.
Well, that's unusual, Kevin, because you usually get a warning from the official. And it doesn't look like it happened in this particular case. Quick throw. Alex Smith gets the ball out to Fasano in the flat, but the penalty actually happened on the far sideline.
It's a 1st and 10. Donnie Avery is on the move. Smith. Dwayne Bowe, the Miami native, catches it right there in front of Brent Grimes. He picks up 11 yards, and he's up to the 44 in a 1st.
And it was so good to get Dwayne Bowe back last week against Denver. And he makes such a difference in this offense. Alex Smith referred to him as a security blanket, a guy that can go get the football. And that's what they were missing in week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. That big body that can not only stretch the field, but is very comfortable working over the middle.
Smith told us he's almost like a tight end playing wide receiver.
Well, he's got that unique size that you love, Kevin, at the wide receiver position. He is a very good slant runner. Keep an eye on that today against this Miami secondary.
It is 1st and 10, double reverse. Hammond Jr. trying to get it on the handoff. It's bobbled, as you can see. And it may have been vacuumed in by Olivier Vernon. They're going to say the Chiefs have the ball. Some trickery early on for the Chiefs, and they lose it. We're lucky to hold on to it at the very end.
And the problem with these reverses as the ball comes out so fast from the gentleman tossing it, A.J. Jenkins. I mean, he's tossing it, but he doesn't realize he's going so fast. That's a hard ball to handle if you're Frankie Hammond Jr.
They lose 15 yards on the play.
And they had it, too. I mean, there was a big opening up the left side of that sideline.
Two tight ends. Sherman is in. Second down and 25. Kyle Davis with a block ahead right there by Harrison. He picks up 6. Not a lot of room to roam up the middle, and he's brought down in the play by Jenkins. Put the ball at the 35.
You know, I really felt like Kyle Davis did a nice job filling in last week for Jamal Charles. You know, this offense, I don't think it's really going to change a lot, Kevin, without Charles in the lineup from a scheme standpoint. Where it will change is the explosive plays that Jamal Charles gives you, not just in terms of the running game, but the passing game.
3rd and 19. Dolphins in the nickel. Chiefs need the Miami 46, and here comes Smith, and it's errant, incomplete, going for Avery. All kinds of pretty good coverage over there, including Will Davis, who you see right there. So it's incomplete, and like the Dolphins before them, the Chiefs have got a punt.
Really a tight window there. Cortland Finnegan's going to buzz back out, and that window closed too quickly for Alex Smith.
Punt now coming up from Dustin Colquitt, number 3 in the AFC through the first couple weeks. And deep back, they've got the rookie Landry. He muffed a punt last week in Buffalo. Negligible wind in Miami this afternoon. Colquitt, boy, does he get off a rocket. And Landry inexplicably takes it inside the 5. And there he'll be brought down. Owens, among others, getting him. It was a hang time of 4-6. Enough to get him down there. The rookie making a mistake. Dolphins get it when we come back. 8:18 first quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Verizon, more live games than ever before with NFL Mobile.
Right. Second time he's had some accuracy issues.
Yeah, just location on certain throws, and it has to improve, Kevin. You got to be exact. I think the great ones are, you think about Manning, Brady, Breeze, and Rodgers. They rarely miss when they have an open receiver.
This is Lamar Miller. Up the middle he goes. He's brought down on the play by Parker. A 17-yard burst up to the 21.
They do a really nice job getting through the hole. This is where the hole is going to be. They're going to go right at the inside linebacker. Satella does a nice job getting up on the second level. That's a huge hole there for Lamar Miller. And this is what they have to do. They have to attack inside that Kansas City defense where they have 2 starters out at the inside linebacker position.
Chiefs in the nickel, 1st and 10. So again, going for Wallace. Parker on the coverage across the way, taking the place of Barry. Well, they got a lot of speed for Tannehill, and that guy right there, case in point, Wallace.
He has what I would refer to as rare and unusual speed. And that's, you know, if you're in that Kansas City secondary, you can't allow this guy to run by you.
2 1,000-yard seasons, 73 receptions a year ago. The high-price free agent from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Second down and 10. In the second possession for Miami today. Got his feet set, but it was dropped by the rookie. He's had a tough beginning here. Landry, second-round pick out of LSU, 3rd down and 10.
Well, if you go back and study the Dolphins through the first 2 weeks, Kevin, they're dropping way too many balls, especially at the wide receiver position. A nice job here with the fake. You've got him open. That's a good throw by Tannehill, but it's a drop by Landry. You look at this number here, 9 drops already this season. And it's not just at the wide receiver position. We saw it last week in Buffalo. The tight ends and running backs, they also were responsible as well.
Chiefs in the nickel, 3rd and 10 for Miami. On the screws, caught by Hartline, brought down on the play by Mauga. It's a 15-yard pickup to the Miami 36, 1st down.
Well, Hartline had another 1,000-yard season last year, and I think that's the guy that Tannehill is most comfortable with. I think he has a good feel for how Hartline runs certain routes, and Hartline is not afraid to work across the middle.
It's that trust factor which is so important.
It's so important, and that's the thing that Tannehill talked about this week, Kev, is I got to do a better job trusting the receivers, anticipating, and cutting it loose.
Lamar Miller again on first down and 10. Flag was thrown on the play. Eventually Sean Smith, another ex-Dolphin, made the stop. It was a gain of 12. It was up near the 48, and we'll see what the flag is all about from Triplett and his crew here in Miami this afternoon.
Illegal motion offense. That penalty is declined. Holding left tackle of the offense. That 10-yard penalty will be accepted. Repeat, first down.
Brandon Albert. Coming into this week, by the way, Pro Football Focus had him as the #1 rated tackle overall in the NFL.
Well, that's really where it started for the Dolphins in the offseason. They had to go out and improve this offensive line. They went out and got themselves 2 new tackles, Brandon Albert in free agency, and their first-round pick was Jawan James, the big tackle out of Tennessee. They are good right now on the edges. Where they have some issues is inside.
So you stay in the nickel on first and 20. Boy, that was blown up inside. Bailey was the one with the initial penetration. It's a loss of 3 on the play, and it's back to the 23.
Really good push up inside. You're going to look at this defensive line, kind of overloading, little stunt inside where you see Poe go one way and Bailey wrap around. Again, trying to attack Samson, Sattel, and the 2 guards. They're not the same up front when you think about not having their Pro Bowl center, Mike Pouncey, who was back to practice this week. They can't get him back soon enough.
Pouncey, a Pro Bowler with hip injury and 2 months old now. Second down and 23. Chiefs had 4. That may have been deflected. It was a wobbler, as you saw, and it's incomplete from Tannehill.
Well, the offensive line, we talked about it, Kevin. The protection has to improve. Tannehill was sacked 4 times last week. He was hurried and hit and knocked down as well. And 58 sacks last year. That's a problem. That affects the quarterback's confidence, his ability to trust the protection and step up inside. And we've seen that time and time again behind this offensive line.
Stepping up in that pocket can open and buy you some time.
Absolutely. And again, that's where the strength of the pocket should be up inside.
Into the nickel, 3rd and 23. As they're trying to find something right there with the good stop by Kurt Coleman. And it's a gain of 5 on the play, and it was short of the first down. Obviously, they had to get to the 46-yard line, so another Chiefs defensive stand holds them to a punt.
We've seen so many bubble screens. The ball's coming out so quick right now. You know that the Dolphins are very concerned about protection early.
So Landry can't get it. Deep back will be Frankie Hammond Jr. for the Kansas City Chiefs, and the punt once again will be Brandon Fields. Good blow on that long snap from Denny. On the 29-yard line, this is Frankie Hammond Jr. He's right. My goodness. There was a big-time hit. Jelani Jenkins did it. 44-yard punt, 11-yard return, flag thrown on the play. So 2 Miami possessions and 2 punts. Chiefs have had it once. They punted as well.
During the return, holding. Number 32 of the return team. That's a 10-yard penalty. First down, timeout.
Cyrus Gray guilty right there. Jelani Jenkins rams his way into Hammond Jr. Timeout, 5:06 first. One of the elite defensive players for the Miami Dolphins, Cameron Wake, as you see, is on the sideline. We've not gotten any word on an injury. Shelby has taken his place, at least for this series. Sherman is the fullback. It's 1st and 10 Kansas City on their 2nd possession today. After the 44-yard Miami punt, 1st and 10. Oh, they come up the middle, and there's Shelby. And also coming through, Randy Starks. The 2 come in, they pinch the quarterback, the sack, loss of 5, back to the 18.
And we talk about the 2 good edge rushers, Cameron Wake standing on the sidelines and Olivier Vernon, but they're good inside as well, Kevin. You mentioned Starks and Jared Odrick and Derek Shelby. Big, strong, and stout with some quickness to get to the quarterback.
2nd and 15 for the Chiefs. Miami is going into the nickel. With the two tight ends, here comes Shelby, and Kelsey drops it. That's a second drop by the Chiefs. One by Davis, one by the tight end, 3rd and 15.
We talked about the drops for Miami. I saw a number for Kansas City last week. I thought it was a sloppy first half the Chiefs had against the Broncos. That's the catch that Kelsey has to make.
Wake is back in for the Dolphins, who stick with 5 in the secondary. 3rd and 15. The Chiefs need the 34. Hemingway has come in.
Not surprised to see him have a tight end over here, Kevin, to help Ryan Harris at the right tackle spot.
Didn't matter. Here they come. 1, 2, 3. It was Jenkins and Wake, and then finally bringing them down was Olivier Vernon. It's a second sack. They lose 4 to the 15. They got a punt.
This should never happen. You've got a tackle and a tight end. The tackle has to work out quicker to help Anthony Fasano. But Wake, he just beats the tight end right up the field and forces Alex Smith to step back up inside where there's some traffic.
Go quick to punt, and Landry is back on another whopper. All the way to the 23 with a hang time of 5-1. Here's Landry, tripped up on the play, and a nice defensive job with some healthy move by Josh Martin. 64-yard punt, 10-yard return. Dolphins get it back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it.
Each team has had it twice. Each team has punted. 3rd possession for the Dolphins from their 29, 1st and 10. Gibson in motion. End around. Mike Wallace, double reverse. The quarterback will go out and try to block along with College, the guard. Finally met by defensive back Sean Smith. 12-yard pickup by Tannehill, the former College tight end. He's up to the 41.
Very similar to what we saw from Kansas City a few minutes ago. They flipped the ball. Daniel Thomas flips it to Mike Wallace, and Ryan Tannehill's trying to get a block.
Wallace has got some great speed, and of course he's got another guy who can run the ball, like we said before, Tannehill, who's one of those guys who played an aggressive physical position at tight end for Texas A&M.
He really did, and I think he's just, when we think about it, he's only been playing quarterback, Kevin, for about 5 years. I think the 2 years at A&M and the 3 years here with the Dolphins.
Tannehill, incomplete, looking for hard line, and there's good coverage on the play. Across the way, it was turned on by Smith. Hey fans, follow all of today's football action. Download the CBS Sports app now for lightning fast scores, breaking news, video, and more, all on your phone. 2nd down and 10. Well, that's the thing about Tannehill. Sometimes these quarterbacks, they give up on a play, and they begin to run, and he can run.
Well, and part of it is, Kevin, is just giving up on the play too quickly. And not sitting in there, taking the extra hits and allowing the play to develop down the field.
With the 2nd down and 10, the handoff to Daniel Thomas. Signed this week. Locked down in the play by linebacker James Michael Johnson. He picks up 5. He's up to the 46. This guy was cut early in the preseason, let go, and just re-signed when Noshawn Moreno went down.
I think he realizes this is a kind of a new lease on life. No one even brought him in for a workout, Kevin. He was very disappointed. And because of the injury to Noshawn Moreno, he gets another chance here with the Dolphins.
He was a high pick by Miami, too, a one-time 2nd-round pick.
He just hadn't worked out. I mean, he had battled injuries and inconsistent play the first 3 seasons. And everyone up here at the line of scrimmage.
In the nickel, 3rd and 5. Knocked down. Smith was defending. The hard line was in the sights of the quarterback. And incomplete.
Well, Bob Sutton is going to pressure in 3rd down and play man-to-man. Single safety in the middle of the field. They're playing press on the outside, and they have safeties. Abdullah's up at the line of scrimmage. They're going to challenge these Miami receivers.
Even though Wallace picked up 12 on the end around and the double reverse, it was a 4-and punt for Miami on their 3rd possession. Comes Fields. Frankie Hammond Jr. is back. And he'll take it from the 10. Still alive and brought down as he crosses with Michael Thomas. Bringing him down. Take a break after the 33-yard Hammond return. Well, because of the Kansas City punter, Colquitt, who's had 2 punts, one of 63, one of 64 yards, they've been able to flip the field, so they've moved their beginning field position from the 2 to the 24, now to the 44-yard line on their 3rd possession. And here comes Davis with a Kelsey block on a 1st and 10 and brought down on the play by Louis Delmas after a gain of 4 to the 48 with our marquee matchup today.
Well, Cameron Wake deserves a lot of attention. He's going to get it from this Kansas City offensive line. You just see him working on a very good offensive tackle last week or 2 weeks ago against Sebastian Vollmer, and he makes this look easy. And so I think in particular, Kevin, it's the matchup versus the Chiefs' right tackle, Ryan Harris, that has Miami excited. Remember, now Harris is the 3rd tackle. Stevenson serving a 4-game suspension. Jeff Allen, who started the season at right tackle, was placed on IR.
2nd down and 6. With a little handoff here to Joe McKnight, the former Jet, who's out to the 50-yard line. He picks up 3 on the play, and a host of guys out there to meet him, including Earl Mitchell.
Well, one thing Miami does a nice job of is stopping the run. I mean, Kevin Cole, the defensive coordinator, that's really where he always hangs his hat. They've always been good at stopping the run with that front. And because of the talent that they have up front, and this is a real benefit for the Dolphins, they can get home with a 4-man rush. They don't have to rush 5 and 6 defenders to get pressure on the quarterback. They can do it with just their front.
Davis is in, 5 in the secondary, 3rd and 3. Niall Davis, who is hit by Vernon. He picks up 2. He's close to the 1st down. Looks like he's inside the 47-yard line of Miami. Needed the 46.
I think he's going to be a little bit short. It's going to be close either way.
It is going to be close. Maybe a measurement.
Good spot there. Well, both teams running the ball a little bit on 3rd down. Niall Davis does a good job falling forward at the end of that run.
No Jamal Charles today for Kansas City. No Sean Moreno for a while for the Miami Dolphins. A lot of punting, no score at the end of 1. We're going to start the second. Hey, good picture, Rich. We're going to start the 2nd quarter with the Chiefs deciding to go for it on 4th and 1. They had not taken the measurement as we were going to commercial. They did while we were away. It is 4th and 1. They're going to go for it and bring in some extra beef in the backfield with Lincoln Bach.
Well, you're always alert for no snap, no play in this situation. Try and draw Miami off sides. I think that's what we're going to see here.
Sherman, the fullback. Oh, Smith. Davis got the 1st down. Knifes his way inside. Delmas brings him down. He picks up 6. Early interesting call by Reed. 1st and 10 to the Miami 41.
I like what they did because they had a lot of shifts and motions, and it really led you to believe it was going to be a no snap, no play situation. And then they decided to pull the trigger and hand the ball to Niall Davis. Very good execution there by Andy Reid in this offense.
Kill, kill, kill!
With a couple tight ends, 4 consecutive runs for the Chiefs from the 41 of Miami, 1st and 10. Davis out of Arkansas. Ooh, wrapped up. No place to run, no place to hide. Wake is there, throws him for a 3-yard loss. Earl Mitchell had a hand in it too, back to the 44.
Well, this Miami defensive line, you see Earl Mitchell and Cameron Wake, they do such a good job disengaging, shedding blocks, getting off blocks, and chasing the play down from behind.
Well, the Dolphins told us on Friday we need to dominate their front with our front, which is our strength.
Yeah, crowd the line of scrimmage, smother the running game, and make Kansas City do something they don't want to do, and that's throw the ball a bunch behind that offensive line.
Davis on 2nd and 13. Looked like Jason Tresnick got a hand on him and tripped him up. Gain of 4 to the 40-yard line of Miami. Dolphins come in 1-1, losing last week in Buffalo after beating the Patriots here opening weekend.
Well, you know, you look at Miami, Kevin, they have not started games well. Even going back to week 1 against the Patriots, they fell behind. Last week against the Buffalo Bills, they had just 63 yards of offense in the first half. Of course, they had all kind of issues with their special teams units.
Not a 2 tight end for the Chiefs, which we expected.
Well, they can run out of it, and they can throw out of it. And that really helps them formationally against this Miami defensive line.
Here they come on 3rd and 9. Trusnick and Jenkins. It's the third sack given up by Kansas City. Third sack recorded by the Dolphin D, and the Chiefs have got a punt again.
Well, look, they crowd the line of scrimmage, and you're going to see some pressure up inside. Really forcing to try and create some one-on-ones. What they want to do is they want that running back, Davis, to have to come up and take the first defender, and then they loop around with the second defender, Trusnick.
So here comes Colquitt with punts of 63, 64. He's going to do an Aussie-style kick here with good hang time. And dying right around the 19-yard line, and it will roll to the 17. Decent hang time, but the Dolphin defense doing the job with big, stout men up front and quick-moving linebackers. Timeout. Well, the Chiefs have already given up 3 sacks. They've allowed more pressures than any other offensive line in football.
And that's really surprising, Kevin. They've been very protection conscious here in the first half, and Miami still finding a way to get to Alex Smith.
3 sacks. Line now goes back to the Dolphins after the Kansas City punt. It's 1st and 10 in stride. Wallace with a good-looking move, and he takes it up to the 47. Brought down by linebacker James Michael Johnson. A 30-yard catch and run to the 47.
Well, this is where Miami has really struggled. Just 2 plays of 20 yards or more, which is the fewest in football. You see it off of play action. A good shot here by Ryan Tannehill. They've worked extra this week on routes versus air. In other words, no defense, just the quarterbacks and receivers working on the depth and the timing and the rhythm in the passing game.
To the 1st and 10, into the nickel, outside. Wallace again, breaking a Smith tackle and getting another couple yards. And a gain right there of 15 yards. Let's go to New York and James Brown.
The payoff for a sustained drive.
Yes, it is. And right here, you're going to see Carlos Hyde goes sweep left for 6 yards and some pay dirt. Touchdown. 49ers capping off a 14-play drive for 80 yards. San Francisco up 14-6.
Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon.
It is a 1st and 10 here with Lamar Miller picking up 5 on the play and brought down by Justin Houston at the 33 of Kansas City. Whether it's Carlos Hyde or Frank Gore for San Francisco, they seem to always have a pretty effective running game.
Well, they do, because they have a great offensive line that's played together, and they're big, they're strong, they come off the ball, they get up on the second level, and they haven't had a lot of injuries with that group over the last couple seasons. So that continuity has really helped the 49ers.
Williams in the backfield, 2nd down and 5. Williams on Oklahoma wearing 34. That's dropped. Brandon Gibson, coverage by Chris Owens. 3rd and 5.
You know, people talk about Tannehill's got to get better with his accuracy. There's receivers got to do a better job catching the football. I mean, you can't make a better throw. He puts it right on him. And that's one you have to make if you're Brandon Gibson.
3 drops already by receiver.
And that's really frustrating, Kevin, from a quarterback's perspective. You know, the guy's being criticized. In fairness to Tannehill, I mean, he's playing behind a completely rebuilt offensive line. And the bottom line is they got to do a better job protecting him up front and catching the football on the perimeter.
Nickel for the Chiefs. Thomas is in, 3rd and 5. Grabbed by the running back. Daniel Thomas again signed this week after. I'll take that back. That was by Brandon Gibson, who picks up 3 on the play. He gets down to about the 30, which will make it 4th down and about 1.5 yards, and they're going to try it for 3.
Well, I think when you're struggling offensively, and points are so important in a game like this, where we've really been a battle of field position for both these teams in the first half.
Here is a 48-yard field goal try by Caleb Sturgis, who has been perfect this year. 5 of 5, and he cannot get it to go from 48 yards away. So, all for naught. Wallace had a 30-yard catch and run, setting up the Sturgis try from 48 wide left.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fury. In theaters October 17th. T-Mobile. And by the all-new 2015 Honda Fit. The new Fit is a great fit for you.
With NFL Now, you can access the biggest NFL video library on the planet. Select your favorite teams or players, and NFL Now delivers non-stop videos on your favorite device. Get NFL Now, free at NFL.com/now. It's 1st and 10 after the missed field goal by Miami. And Niall Davis trying to pick up something, finds nothing off the left side. He's to the 38-yard line. Tresnick was right there. There's a lot on the play to the quarterback for the Chiefs, Alex Smith, with no Jamal Charles.
Well, it's such a huge story in this game, Kevin. And remember now, we talked about this week 1 when we did the Chiefs-Tennessee game. I said, if not Jamal Charles, who? Somebody else in this offense has to step up. It's got to be Dwayne Bowe. It's got to be Kelsey. It's got to be Niall Davis today. Alex Smith can't do it all. He needs help.
With a 2nd and 10, Bowe. And brought down by Wilson. He bulldozes his way for a Kansas City first down to the 46, 16-yard pickup.
And this is exactly what Alex Smith was talking about last night. His ability, Dwayne Bowe's ability to go up and catch the ball, really pluck it out of the air with those strong arms and hands against these smaller corners.
He's their number 1 receiver. He doesn't feel like a number 1 receiver, but it's the best they've got right now. He
has lacked some focus and some concentration over the years, and he can't take plays off. When you study the tape, we see that sometimes with Dwayne Bowe. He's got to play every snap like it's his last.
Davis with a 1st and 10 handoff. And again, jumping on him is Jimmy Wilson, and others were right there with a gain of 4 to the 42 of Miami.
The one thing Dwayne Bowe will do, though, is he'll go in and block. And if you're going to play in Andy Reid's offense at the wide receiver position, you have to be willing to block in the running game.
He signed that big contract, and then he really didn't have much of a season last year with only 57 catches.
Yeah, he was a disappointment. I think he's battled some weight issues. Of course, he's had some off-the-field issues. But the consistency in the production simply hasn't been there from Dwayne Bowe. 2nd
and 6. He's got another receiver right here. This is Donnie Avery, brought down by Cortland Finnegan. It is a pickup of 8 on the play, a first down to the 33 of the Dolphins.
And this is good to see them go after these corners of Miami. You can't give Brent Grimes and Cortland Finnegan a free pass and not make them play some. It's good that they're throwing the ball out there on the perimeter early in this game.
Sense a little bit of rhythm here with this offense.
Really important for any quarterback, Kevin, particularly when you're struggling offensively. High completion percentage throws early.
With Gray and McKnight, who gets it here. It's 1st and 10. Tresnick again on the wing. But Joe McKnight inactive against Denver. The catch and run for 13 to the 20-yard line of Miami. On the Verizon halftime report, New York being put together. JB and Company scores, highlights, news, and a preview of Thursday Night Football. She'll be seen here on CBS and NFL Network. That's coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Right on that chart.
And I love the fact he makes no excuses. Whether it's Jamal Charles, Eric Berry, whoever's out, it's not an excuse for this football team.
Davis, there was the hole they wanted, and they get it inside the 5. He'll gallop in for the Kansas City touchdown. A 21-yard touchdown run by Niall Davis. Big time hole on the right side.
Well, they really do a nice job. They fake the toss to the back, and then Davis is going to come right back up inside. And they get a nice double team at the point. You're going to see the guard come around McGlynn. He kicks out. There's some poor angles and poor tackling in that Miami secondary.
And Eric Fisher came from the left tackle, pulled, and made a good lane sealing block. He was the first overall pick, remember, taking the place of Albert on that left side for the Chiefs. A 21-yard touchdown run by Davis with the extra point by Cairo Santos. Niall Davis had a couple of touchdown runs last week in Denver. This time he got some nice blocking, taking the place of Charles and doing his best impersonation. 227-pound Niall Davis, 2 years out of Arkansas, 3rd-round pick. Had a good-looking 21-yard hard-earned touchdown run to put the Chiefs on top.
It was always good to see Jamal Charles run right over there and congratulate his teammate. Alex Smith 3 for 3 on that drive, Kevin. 3 different receivers. You point out, he really looked like Andy Reid got him back in rhythm on that series.
Hit McKnight, Avery, and Bowe for 16 yards. Here's the ensuing kickoff. Santos gets it in the end zone. Had trouble doing that last week in Denver. Landry making a couple tackles, then taking it out and finally brought down on the play. It looked like by Cyrus Gray, the running back, on a 32-yard return. Thursday, your football week starts right here. It's a bitter rivalry between the Giants and the Redskins. Another big-time matchup in prime time. Thursday night football on NFL Network and CBS Sports. Giants won today. Redskins lose, although Cousins was terrific today in quarterbacking Washington. It'll be always a good one in the East. They know each other well. Tannehill with the first down and 10. Got it down. Looked like Poe got the big arm up there. Swats it down. Incomplete pass. Second down and 10.
He's got that big vertical leaping ability. You don't expect that from Dontari Poe inside. Sure that was Poe. Gets that big right hand up there and knocks it down.
Poe, a Pro Bowler a season ago, really began to emerge. There was a section of last year that he may have been playing the best nose tackle of anyone in the NFL.
Oh, the first 9 games of the season, he really played well inside.
Here's second and 10 for the running back, Lamar Miller. Big time hole. Brought down in the secondary by Ron Parker. He accelerates to the 45, and he picks up 20 in a first.
He has the ability to change directions and wind it right backside. He's going to work right back up here after he starts initially to his left. You see the backside seal there, kick out block, and Lamar Miller right up on the second level.
You kind of like that right tackle who's a rookie out of Tennessee, Jawan James. He was the one that sealed it.
Yeah, I thought he really played well last week against Mario Williams and the Buffalo Bills.
Here's Miller on first and 10. Popped up by James Michael Johnson. It's a pickup of 1. Of course, the Chiefs without Pro Bowl linebacker Derek Johnson, Mike DeVito. Injured on that defensive line. They've lost a lot of guys, including Eric Berry again today. Injured and out. Mauga in there too, trying to fill the gap. Mays is out. He's hurt his wrist.
I just loved Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator for Kansas City. We talked to him last night, Andy Reid. Very even keel. They don't get too high or too low. They don't make a big deal about it. Say, look, we're going to go play, and we expect the young players to step in to play well in our scheme.
Into the nickel, second down and 9. It's knocked away with a nice play by Tamba Hali. Blindside hit, the strip, and the second sack for the Chiefs D back at the Miami 38.
This is a great matchup. You see Tamba Hali up top, and he's going against Brandon Albert. They are very familiar with each other. Obviously, Albert having played last year in Kansas City, they went against each other in practice all the time. And right there, Tamba Hali gets the best of them. It makes such a difference when you have 2 really good edge rushers. You can't turn the line to Hali all the time because now you've got to worry about Justin Houston on the other side.
Chiefs have 6 in the secondary, 3rd and 17. Tannehill hit and incomplete. Boy, nice pressure, and it was the first-round pick out of Auburn, D. Ford, who came through. They're continuing to bring this kid along. High hopes for him. They got a punt. 5 and away for Miami.
Well, D. Ford, he's fast too now. And now you've got a 3rd rusher. We talked about Houston and Hali, and D. Ford, as you point out, Kevin, he's going to be a good one once he figures it all out.
Well, with the Anthony Thomas out and injured, punt returning chores go again to Frankie Hammond Jr. Here is the punt by Miami. And Brandon Fields taken at the 12. Hang time of 3-7. And a nice little return right there with Thomas making the stop. 12-yard return, 50-yard punt. The Chiefs get it back, who lead on a 21-yard touchdown run by Niall Davis. Late second quarter from Miami.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. And by Papa John's, official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
So the Dolphins have had it 5 times, 4 punts and a missed field goal from 48. Chiefs scored the last time they had it. And take it again. First and 10 at the 24. Davis brought down by Olivier Vernon, and it's a gain of 4, and he's up to the 28-yard line.
A really good balance for Kansas City. 12 runs and 11 passes. course, they get it started with a big completion to Dwayne Bowe. And this is important to get him touches early. Of course, their ability to kick it wide to Joe McKnight. They finish it off with a huge run up inside by Niall Davis. That was really set up, as you point out, Kevin, by a great kick-out block from their left tackle, Eric Fisher.
3 tight ends. On the clump there at the top of your screen. 2nd down and 6. McKnight in the backfield. And look at his speed, slashing his way past midfield. Brought down by the linebacker Jenkins. Works the ball to the 46-yard line. That's a 26-yard catch and run by Joe McKnight.
And just a little simple out of the backfield. Again, the matchup inside, attacking the middle of the field. The linebackers and the safeties of the Dolphins are run support type players. They're not great in coverage, and that's where Kansas City's attacking right now.
Did you say just moments ago you're looking for someone to step up? They've had a couple guys step up.
And it's usually never one person, Kevin. It's a combination of players, and we saw that on that last drive.
Davis back in, 1st and 10. Niall gets the call. Rodney Hudson trying to get a block, forced out of bounds by Thomas, among others. It is a gain of a yard to New York and James Brown.
A sharp Russell Wilson.
That's right, JB. Russell Wilson right here going up top to Ricardo Lockett for 39 yards and the touchdown. Seattle is up 10-3.
That's what Coach Carr was talking about. Balanced offense. Back to Kevin and Rich.
And coming off that loss, the Seahawks were in San Diego.
They were humbled last week. San Diego really took it to them.
2nd down and 9, and Niall Davis slipping and corkscrewing his way to the 39. Hit by Wilson, among others. Hodrick was in there, and he picks up 6 yards. These running backs, the more carries, they get that rhythm in their running.
And it's confidence, Kevin, really. And I think it's just the ability to stay after it in the running game is going to be so important for Kansas City. Welcome back to Miami. You know, we always think about Andy Reid as a terrific head coach, but he's also a very good play caller. And I think he does a terrific job masking their core plays that they feature every week and really dressing them up with different personnel groupings and formations and make it very difficult for a defense.
Nice outside block by Harris. You see the 1st down run on that 3rd down and 3 to begin the last 2 minutes by Niall Davis, who already has a 21-yard touchdown run. He picks up 13 on the play, and he's down to about the 26.
Yeah, really nothing fancy, just the old toss play. And again, Kevin, as we talked about, I think it's his ability to not necessarily change concepts each week. It's his ability to run the same plays, but to dress them up with different personnel groups, formations, motions, and shifts to make it very difficult for a defense to get a bead.
They put him at the 28 after they reassessed. 1st and 10. Niall Davis once again. And Brent Grimes and a couple others over there for a gain of 3. Rich to the 25-yard line. Miami will take a timeout. They've got 2 left. The Chiefs and Andy Reid have 2 left. They're moving again, leading 7-zip. All right, so they got 2 timeouts. They're on the move again. They got the ball, 2nd down at the 25 of Miami.
Well, Miami needs to get a stop, obviously, Kevin, but they're also trying to use these timeouts so they can get another possession for their struggling offense.
With McKnight back there with the quarterback, 2nd down and 7. Into the nickel. That's caught by Bowe. Wrapped up by Grimes. Picks up 5. Gets to the 20. Another Miami timeout. So now they've got 1 left. The Chiefs hanging with 2. And a pretty important 3rd and 2 coming up when we come. Smith is at 5 consecutive passes.
And Kevin, the real emphasis has been on getting the ball out quick.
3rd and 2. 2 timeouts. McKnight was by his side. They go underneath. This is Kelsey, who was so terrific last week, to the pylon. That is a Kansas City touchdown. This kid is quickly emerging on the scene. Travis Kelsey. That is a 20-yard touchdown pass. And the Chiefs build on their lead.
Yeah, you're just going to see him. He's just going to work right across the field here. And we talked about these quick hitting shots from Alex Smith and the Chiefs. And once he catches it in the flat, you see the speed that he has. He runs right through the corner, makes a terrific play, extending the ball at the goal line.
Once that hits the pylon, they will tell you that is in. So the Chiefs took over at their own 24 with about 4:17 left. They went 8 plays, and they end up with a 26-yard catch and run by McKnight, a 13-yard run by Davis, highlighting a 20-yard touchdown pass to the tight end Kelsey with the Santos extra point. With 1:35 to go, the Chiefs are up 14-0. Missing key players, Pro Bowlers on each side of the ball, finding a way in Miami. Back in Miami tonight, 60 Minutes travels to the front lines to report on the terror group ISIS. Plus a taxpayer fraud story you can't afford to miss on the season premiere of 60 Minutes tonight. Only CBS. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, with a look at Joe Philbin, his team down by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, they have to be concerned. Look at that, outscored 43-10 in the first half. They have not looked sharp offensively.
Damian Williams with a rookie free agent tag out of Oklahoma. Bringing it up, Hemingway and a couple others in there with the stop for Kansas City, including Jerry Franklin, 26-yard return. He's up to the 22. Well, coming up from our CBS studios in New York, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Bill Collins. Scores, news, highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. It's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. All right, Rich, down by 2 touchdowns. A timeout left. Dolphins have it at their 22.
And they have enough time, Kevin, to get down there and get themselves in a position for a score. But there's got to be a sense of urgency from Tannehill in this offense.
On defensive backs for the Chiefs. Here comes Houston. Down he goes. Got it away as he was hitting the deck, and it's caught by Miller. He was off to the races and ushered out of bounds by Cooper. Nice play by Tannehill.
That was a
15-yard catch.
That was a terrific play, Kevin, by Ryan Tannehill. I mean, he's got no chance in this situation. You see Houston come off the edge. What a terrific athletic play by the quarterback, finding Lamar Miller over the ball.
So they get 15. They've got a timeout to go. The numbers on Tannehill right there. 1:22 to go, and at the 37, 1st and 10. Into the nickel again, Tannehill. Oh, it was almost knocked away, but he gets it off to Miller, who's gotten a little bump there by Marcus Cooper. It's a pickup of 5. He gets out of bounds at the 42.
Well, that was a scary throw. James Michael Johnson is right there to make this play. Can't quite get that left hand on it. Talking about accuracy, it's a very good throw by Tannehill. The thing I like about Ryan Tannehill, he is tough, Kevin. He's got some things he's got to work through in his 3rd season, but he's a tough guy that's willing to sit in there with a tough jaw and make a good throw. He's been pressured a lot through the first half.
Here he comes now with a 2nd and 5 and a single timeout left. Working the sideline, and who else? He's gone to Wallace a couple times. It's a gain of 8 by Mike Wallace. And he will be put at the 49. It's the 1st down.
You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to start the second half in their 2-minute offense. This is as good as they've looked here today. Sometimes when you go up tempo, sometimes when you give the quarterback a little bit more freedom and flexibility at the line of scrimmage, good things can happen.
Boy, and you need a lot of communication, don't you?
Absolutely, and I think and this is an area where Tannehill has really gotten better, but to make things a little bit more difficult for him. Again, they changed the system with the new offensive coordinator in his 3rd season.
That Daniel Thomas in 1st and 10. They go underneath. This is caught by Jarvis Landry, the rookie, who is hit on the play by Josh Mauga. It's a 16-yard catch and run to the 34.
Yeah, just these little under routes have been very effective, really, for both teams working in the middle of the field against these linebackers in zone coverage.
1st down and 10. Good block by Albert. Screen pass to Thomas. Nice block on the play by James, and he works his way into the tackle of Kurt Coleman, but all the way to the Kansas City 13. It's a 21-yard catch and run for the former K-Stater Thomas. Good looking drive, which started back at the Miami 22. Thomas remains, again signed off the street this week to take the place of Moreno. 1st and 10. Tannehill rips it away, clock at 12. That last play looked awful good, and Tannehill making things click.
And a lot of it's on Ryan Tannehill. Go ahead and run it. And watch at the top of his drop, Kevin. He's a really good job with his eyes looking to his left, and then he's going to throw the screen back to his right. The offensive line do a good job getting out in front of it. And, of course, you want to turn the back loose like Daniel Thomas. But a big reason for that was Tannehill's patience in the pocket. 5 of 6 on this drive.
With a second down and 10. Tannehill, here's that running we were talking about earlier. Oh, look at him. With a pirouette down to the 4. Close to a first down, close to a run at 10. And they take time with 2 seconds remaining. They'll probably go for 3, but we'll take a break and then tell you what they figure out as Coleman makes the stop. Big time hits. 2 seconds left. Timeout's gone for Miami.
Yeah, just not enough time, Kevin, to take a shot at the end zone. They've got to get some points here before the half, and so they take the field goal. Coach Philbin was down there talking to the officials during the break, trying to get a few extra seconds on the clock. 5-6 seconds, maybe you take a quick shot at the end zone. But with 2 seconds, you got to kick the field goal.
22-yarder right through, and the shutout gone, and the Dolphins put some points on the board. Beautiful drive led by Tannehill. They do get 3, and that takes us to halftime. 1-1 Dolphins down at halftime, 14-3. Now let's take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam with the quarterback Alex Smith and his young tight end Travis Kelce. Also got a touchdown run from Niall Davis, and they've got the lead at halftime. Give a look at Alex right there. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, great to have you with us. What was Kansas City doing right, in your opinion, in that first half offense?
Well, Kevin, remember at the beginning of the game we talked about Kansas City's concerns with Cameron Wake and this Miami pass rush. So what did they do? They really tried to go out and get the ball out quick and attack with the short and intermediate throws, and we saw that consistently with Alex Smith in the first half. Quick throws outside, quick pops inside as well. 8 of 11, 112 yards. A lot of them were on the short and intermediate throws. Of course, he finds his tight end Travis Kelce for the touchdown in the second quarter. But again, the emphasis was getting the ball out quick from Alex Smith. You look at the first half numbers. Both teams able to get to the quarterback. 2 sacks from the Chiefs, 3 for the Dolphins. Miami really anemic offensively the first 28 minutes of the half. They were able to get something going on that 2-minute drive. Kevin, I thought that 2-minute drive for the Dolphins was critical for their confidence. Had a little bit of momentum as they head into the locker room at halftime.
It was a good-looking drive that began back at their 22. Joe McKnight brings it out. Here come the Chiefs with McKnight, who has been a factor in the first half, and finally wrestled down, hit by Kelvin Shepard. 23-yard return by Joe McKnight. Smith and the Chiefs will take it. He's 8 of 11, 112 yards, hit his last 6 passes to close that first half. So both quarterbacks finishing the first half strong.
They did, and you know, the thing I always admired about Alex Smith is that he's an unselfish player, and he knows how to get his team in a position to have a chance to win late in games. And he typically doesn't make a lot of poor decisions. As you look at the first half possessions, they struggled early. Three straight possessions where they had to settle for a punt, but then they got it going in the second quarter. 6-play, 62-yard drive, and an 8-play, 76-yard drive that resulted in touchdowns.
Davis in the backfield, first down and 10 for Smith. Hit by Jelani Jenkins. Picks up a yard of the play to the 19-yard line.
I've been impressed with what I've seen from Niall Davis, Kevin. They mentioned this last week, came in a kind of a tough situation. Didn't get any reps last week because of the Jamal Charles injury. Jamal takes all the reps in practice, according to Alex Smith. He came in last week and really handled himself well. He got the lion's share of the work this week. He looks much more comfortable.
Making his second career start today. Second down, long now. Wade coming off the edge, and he eventually makes the stop on Niall Davis, who picks up 2 right there.
Well, he's a different type of runner. Doesn't have the straight line speed that Jamal Charles has, but he's very patient. He has good vision, and he can run with power inside. He's got enough speed, and he's very, very good in the passing game. If you're going to be a running back in Kansas City, you have to be a good screen runner. They throw a ton of them to the backs.
Now they have a 3rd and 8 and 5 in the secondary for Miami. Thomas is coming, number 25, the former Lion. You see there at about the 22, 21. Smith, they come from the edge, fumble on the play and recovered by Shelby of Miami. The game's first turnover. Fourth sack allowed by the offensive line.
Well, they bring pressure up inside, but it's the pressure really off the edge that's going to force Alex Smith to step up inside. He knows he's one short there. They don't have the corner blocked, Portland Finnegan, and as he steps up inside, he's careless with the football, and it gets knocked out. You got to have 2 hands on the ball. You see the strip there, and the recovery by Derek Shelby. A huge turnover for the Dolphins.
Jared Odrick right there out of Penn State, the one to jar it free, knocks it out, and look at where they begin in the red zone and offsides. Where the 1st and 10 looked like Dickerson may have jumped unless he was induced.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, right defensive tackle. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
They just signed him when DeVito was lost.
One way to slow down that pass rush is to mix in some hard counts. You see more of them from Ryan Tannehill against this Kansas City defense.
Both teams have run the ball well today. The Chiefs coming into the second half with 75 yards. Miami with 73 yards on the ground. 1st and 5. Lamar Miller. Good block by Albert. Abdullah brings him down. Gain of 10. He's down to the 4. Number 71, Brandon Albert, a good-looking block, and he lines up on the right side.
Yeah, they do a nice job here. They displace the receivers all to the right side, and then look how short they are over on this side of the field with the reduction. Lamar Miller sees it. He just takes the edge against this Kansas City defense.
1st and goal at the 4. Tannehill looking for Wallace. Little jousting there with Marcus Cooper. 2nd down and goal.
They spent so much time this week, Mike Wallace and Ryan Tannehill, just working together on these routes. And we talked to Joe Rose, the play-by-play guy of the Miami Dolphins, Kevin, before the game about them coming out on the field and running full-speed routes, which is something very unusual for them in pregame warm-ups. But again, if it's going to look right, it has to be at full pace and full tempo. We saw more of that in practice from the Dolphins this week.
2nd and goal at the 4. Miller to the 1. Ali brings him down with a gain of 3.
Well, they're really trying to run the ball inside with Lamar Miller. Nice job falling forward at the end of that run.
I like what you said coming out of halftime. You said that last drive by the Dolphins before the half was huge for them.
Well, it was some momentum. I mean, they put together a good drive. They gained some confidence. And now they've come out here and they're trying to capitalize on a big turnover, a big takeaway by their defense.
3rd and goal at the 1. Touchdown. Brian Hartline beating Cooper. They cash in on the strip sack and the fumble.
Well, you're going to see the action here, but then watch Hartline. He's going to work all the way across the formation. It's the action away, and they've been running the ball so effectively up inside. And again, getting Tannehill out on the edge where he's most comfortable. He can make a lot of plays on the move.
A penalty flag was thrown on the Dolphins for the orchestrated celebration in the end zone. Hartline terrific. 3 catches on 3rd down, and Hartline's ticked off, and so is his coach. It says they're right in black and white in the rule book. Don't do it. He did. And the yellow on the field. They'll assess it on the kickoff. The extra point makes it a 4-point game. There was a fumble by Chiefs quarterback Alex Smith. Odrick is the one who knocked it free with great pressure. And they finish it off on a 1-yard touchdown pass. Tannehill, Hardline, a new score in Miami. Brian Hardline, a two-time 1,000-yard receiver, just caught a 1-yard touchdown pass, first touchdown reception of the season. Miami 10 unanswered points, and because the celebration orchestrated in the end zone, the penalty forces them to kick off from the 20. Let's see what the Chiefs do with this. That bright South Florida sun. Joe McKnight with a return to the 34. Hit by a couple on the play. Shepard, one of them, 25-yard return.
Well, you have to know that when you get together and have a group celebration. See the official, he's sitting right there and watching it. You had to know it was going to come. I mean, you'd like to say that was a dumb play by Hartline, but how about his teammates, Kevin? This is something that they talk about in training camp. He's a smart player. That was a really poor decision on his part and the part of his teammates.
He's not even a good putter. On the 34.
He three-putted that.
He rimmed it out. First and 10 from the 34. Good time, but good coverage, too. It's not the only place he could have thrown it. Tackle was made by Finnegan. They go to Avery. They pick up 3, and they spot the ball at the 37.
Well, I think one of the keys for Miami defensively is you can't allow Alex Smith to get outside the pocket and buy extra time. And I think you have to be so disciplined with your eyes and your rush lanes. You can't give him an opening because he'll take it. We saw that in the first half.
Dolphins in the nickel, second down and 7 for the Chiefs. Lyle Davis. Wow. Trusnick comes in and makes the stop. He's replacing Koamisi, who's out with the injury. It's a gain of a yard to the 38.
Well, we talked about the slow starts that Miami has had through the first 3 weeks of the season in the first half. And how about the second half? Come out 3 straight weeks now and scored on their opening second half possession.
How about this Dolphin defense too, Rich? No sacks last week against E.J. Manuel and Buffalo. 4 sacks already at Smith today.
They've done a really nice job, and it's come from a number of different players up front.
In the nickel, Davis on the move, 3rd and 7. It's McKnight, who has been a factor, as we've said, has the first down, slanting inside, working on Finnegan. Picks up 7 to the 44 and move the chains.
You know, I keep looking at 22, and I think of Dexter McCluster. That's Joe McKnight. They're doing a nice job, Kevin, moving him around like they used Dexter McCluster last year, who's now in Tennessee. He has the ability to go out and play in the slot and run those routes.
Knight didn't play last year after playing with the Jets. Remember, he was the #1 high school running back in the country out of Louisiana. Played at USC. 1st and 10. With the Chiefs at the 44. Davis. Good block by Sherman. Nice tackle inside Philip Wheeler. It's a gain of 2 on the play, and he's up to the 46. Tay Leone heads to Washington in the premiere of the new CBS drama, Madam Secretary. It's tonight after 60 minutes. Only CBS. Second down and 8.
The momentum has really swung in this game. Kansas City up 14. Miami has come back now. The field goal before the half and a quick score. It's important for Kansas City to get their mojo back. This is a critical drive for the Chiefs.
Dolphins in their base D. 2nd and 8 for the Chiefs. Quick release on the slant. Looking for Bo. Coverage on the play by the veteran Cortland Finnegan.
This is a really nice job by the veteran Cortland Finnegan. Press man-to-man coverage. He does a nice job. Look at him read the route. He's almost running the in route before Dwayne Bowe. Dwayne Bowe has to really create more separation. He has to come off the ball with a sense of urgency.
Chiefs come out with a couple tight ends. 5 in the secondary. Kansas City 3rd and 8. Blitz from Wake. Smith on the run, needs the 46. Out of bounds, downfield, his legs work again to the 41. He is the #1 rushing quarterback in the NFL. Alex Smith with a 14-yard first down run.
Well, we talked about containing Alex Smith, but watch Fasano. He's going to see the scramble. Now he's just trying to get out. Now watch him right at the end here. He's going to kind of block. He just kind of gets in the way of the linebacker, Jelani Jenkins, and is able to free up Alex Smith some extra room on the sideline. Good alert play by Fasano.
Seventh play of the drive. A lot of long drives last week in Denver for the Chiefs, but they came up empty, especially twice in the red zone. They had chances all day long. High snap from Hudson. And they get it outside to Junior Hemingway. Trusnick had a beat on him, brings him down. Another first down toss to the Miami 29, pick up a 12.
Well, they're not doing a good enough job, these linebackers, matching up and buzzing out into the flats and covering these receivers. We talked about the quick throws from Alex Smith. It's been a real problem for this Miami defense.
Well, the drive, Rich. 7-yard pass to McKnight. 14-yard run by Smith. Hemingway, a 12-yard pickup right there. It's a 1st and 10. 3 tight ends. Kyle Davis, bumping free once again. And keeping on his feet and finally tripped up by Philip Wheeler. 17-yard run by Kyle Davis, who already has a 21-yard touchdown run today.
Just look at these big bodies over here, Kevin. You mentioned 3 tight ends on the right side of the offensive line, and that's where they're going to run the ball right at them. You see them wash down the edge of that. Now the corner has to come up and try and make a tackle on the big back.
He got 90 yards, Rich, on the ground. This is a career high for Niall Davis, taking the place of Charles. 1st and 10. Sherman, the fullback. He breaks the tackle initially at Grimes. Then you see the avalanche led by Wheeler and a gain of a yard on a play. So it's not just one guy taking the place of Charles. It's a lot of guys with their hands in the pot.
And we talked about it. It was going to have to be a team effort. Everyone was going to step up and do a little bit extra, and we've seen it from Dwayne Bowe's made a couple catches. Avery, a couple really nice plays by Joe McKnight. Of course, Niall Davis, as you point out, Kevin, has really run the ball effectively. And Alex doing a great job spreading the football around. Good distribution. 7 different receivers have a catch for the Chiefs.
McKnight is in. 2 tight ends. 2nd down and 9. They got a touchdown. A 2nd touchdown pass today. This is caught by Joe McKnight. An 11-yard hit. And the Chiefs extend their lead. Beautiful drive.
Well, they're going to bring pressure, and what's going to happen is Cameron Wake, he's going to be in coverage on the back. And the back just gets out, and he's just going to beat Cameron Wake. You put a player in a position to try and cover a back, that's a mismatch. Cameron Wake on Joe McKnight.
And that was a Kansas City drive answering 2 pretty good-looking drives by Miami. One at the end of the first half, one to begin the second.
Talked about the importance of getting some momentum back for Kansas City.
Santos with the extra point. Smith makes 2 big plays on 3rd down, one of which was a run himself for 14 yards. Then this one, the slippery McKnight, hurtling in for 6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. The agile all-new Audi Q3. Stray the course. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
Al McKnight with Alex Smith. A pretty good combination today in South Florida for Kansas City.
Really a nice job, and Alex Smith drawing the rush and knowing that he's got the back on that defensive end. Cameron Wake, that's the matchup they were looking for.
Santos getting better length on his kickoffs today, and the rookie Jarvis Landry will swerve and accelerate and get by the Brazilian kicker, and then finally grabbed on the play by Gaines and Owens. Touchdown saving tackles. What a play. Jarvis Landry, a 73-yard return. That was a good one. Andre Caldwell returned one last week for Denver. Over 50 yards against the Chiefs special teams.
Well, remember what happened to this Miami special teams unit. They gave up a big return to C.J. Spiller last week in Buffalo on a kickoff return. So special teams have been a point of emphasis all week here in South Florida. And the thing I like about Landry, he's very decisive, Kevin. Not a lot of moves. He just takes it north and south.
Chiefs player is down and his number is covered. So until we see it, will tell you. Owens, it is. Chris Owens getting up, walking, timeout. 73-yard kick return by Landry. Second consecutive start for Miami in Kansas City territory. They've scored every time they've scored in opponent's territory, starting a drive 4 times this year. Tannehill 1st and 10. That may have been tipped. It's incomplete. They were going for Wallace. Cooper was defending, but it was tipped somewhere in between the release and the target. But who got it, Rich? I'm not super. Was it James Michael Johnson, the linebacker?
No, it was Justin Houston, the end man on the line of scrimmage, Kevin. That's the second time today. Tipped the Tannehill throw.
Second down and 10, Lamar Miller. Wrapped up inside by Josh Mauga. He started the beginning of camp, signed right there as a backup, taking the place of Joe Mays, and no gain on the play. They stay at the Kansas City 33.
Well, they've lost some real playmakers inside. You mentioned Mauga playing and James Michael Johnson taking the place of Joe Mays and Derek Johnson.
3rd down and 10. Now they go for Wallace again with Cooper defending. Is it 4-down territory, or they're going to bring out the field goal? 4th and 10, they'll try for 3.
They've had a lot of 3rd and 10s. Actually, it was the 5th one today. You're not going to convert a lot of them against this Kansas City defense.
Now, Caleb Sturgis comes out. He's out of Florida in his 2nd year. He missed at this end of the field, you may recall, wide left earlier in the game from 48 yards away. This will be a 51-yarder. His career-long 54. 51-yard field goal. This is right down the middle. And extends Miami to 13 points as they trail by 8. A 51-yard field goal set up by a 73-yard kick return by the rookie Landry.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Wendy's. And by Pfizer.
Back in Miami, we just saw a 51-yard field goal by Caleb Sturgis. And the Miami Dolphins have crept a bit closer to the Chiefs, who have gotten 2 Alex Smith touchdown passes today. 1 to McKnight, who waits for the blocking and begins to accelerate and then works his way inside. He's up to the 35 and hit on the play by Jonathan Freeney with a 38-yard return and a flag back at the 14.
Illegal block in the back. Number 59 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Jerry Franklin. Week 3 continues with Sunday Night Football tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. And tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN and Westwood One Radio. 1st down and 10. Well, some hidden yards here. Kansas City losing about 28 yards, I guess, due to that penalty. Back to the 7.
I mentioned it earlier in the game when they're backed up. They have a high tendency to throw the ball in this area, take a shot down the field. Something the Miami defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle pointed out to us on Friday.
Thus they have 5 in the secondary and 1st and 10. Davis grabbed on the play by Philip Wheeler. He started at NB. He played for the Raiders. He doesn't allow any gain there. They stay at the 7. 2nd down and 10.
Of course, that's the 2nd time I've mentioned. The 2nd time they run it down there.
But
that's
you're
bad
right.
information from Kevin Coyle on Friday.
Well, you and I.
He's going to hear it from me next time we come down to do a Dolphins game.
Backup running backs are having a nice impact on this game. Miller taking the place of Moreno. Davis taking the place of Charles.
And not just in the running game, but the passing game as well.
2nd down, a little more than 10. A.J. Jenkins lines up in the backfield with McKnight, and he tripped. Ooh, that was dangerous.
That was a good thing he threw it away.
It was dangerous.
Because the Dolphins sniffed that one out. They do a good job bringing the receiver, A.J. Jenkins, into the backfield. A little bit of misdirection, but Cortland Finnegan was coming right downhill.
We were talking before, Rich, about the play calling from week 1 to week 2, and now week 2 to week 3 for Andy Reid.
Well, he does a good job, Kevin, mixing things up and uses a lot of different personnel groups and formations. I think he really tries to stress the defense. And one of the things that we've seen him do in the first half is run the ball at the edges. You got these good pass rushers, and the way you slow them down is you run the ball right at them.
Davison, 5 in the secondary, third and a long 10. Tresnick with the tackle. Plugs the gap, gain of 2, up near the 9. Chiefs have got a punt. 3 and out.
A really nice series there by the Miami defense. You always say 3 and outs can be demoralizing to an offense.
4th punt in 8 Kansas City possessions. Colquitt has knocked some beauties today. 1 of 62, 1 of 64. Landry back inside the 45. No wind, heavy air. Great punt. Landry back to the 35 and then chased down beautifully. Hit on the play by Phillip Gaines. The hang time of 5.4, and the hang time made that possible.
Really a great job by Gaines. Their rookie timing it up perfectly.
The Miami Dolphins have held football fiestas as part of their year-round Hispanic engagement initiatives. Fans have been able to get autographs, enjoy live music, football trivia, giveaways, interactive games, and more. As today's SAP broadcaster is Nelson Fernandez. From the 34 after the Kansas City 3 and out, 1st and 10. Pressure up the middle, setting up the screen. No place to go right there. Bailey had a good read on it, helped by James Michael Johnson. And it was a loss of 8 on the play, back to the 26.
Well, you just hate to start a drive that way. You know, you got a screen pass and you wind up losing 8 yards. Really terrific job there by, you mentioned Bailey, and also James Michael Johnson, just not going for the initial fake that Tannehill's left.
Miller was the one to get that. Finds himself now at the side of the quarterback with the 2nd and 18. Albert the block. Tannehill delivers. Caught by the receiver Wallace, who has been going head-to-head with Marcus Cooper all day. 16-yard pickup, and he's right at the 40.
Well, this is good to see. We saw Tannehill and Wallace run this individual cut a half dozen times in warm-up. This is one that they really struggle with. It's a timing throw, and the ball has to come out. You have to be able to anticipate that. Tannehill does a fine job of it there.
Put the receiver, Landry in the backfield, 3rd and 4, into the nickel. Tannehill, nice knock away that time by Chris Owens. He spent some time with Cleveland and Miami last year, ended up with the Chiefs with a good dive in front of Wallace. 3 and out, like the Chiefs before him. They got a punt again. And the Dolphins had scored the last 3 times, Rich, they had the ball before the first half and twice here in the second.
Yeah, they looked really sharp. What hurt him there, obviously, Kevin, is the first down play, losing 8 yards on the screen.
Fields with the punt for Miami, and Frankie Hammond Jr. is back for Kansas City. Well placed, he'll catch it on about the 1. There goes a flag, that'll be on the Chiefs. It's going to wipe out what is a pretty decent return. Fields eventually knocked him out, and it looked like one of the defensive backs for Kansas City held, and they're going to wipe out a 48-yard return after a 60-yard punt.
Illegal block in the back. Number 24 of the return team. Half the distance to go, 1st down.
Kelsey McCray. Second time a penalty has knocked out a pretty good Kansas City special team return. That will not make him happy. So now, Rich, they begin at their 1-yard line.
All right, Kevin, when they're backed up, 82% of the time
Hold
they
on,
throw
write
in
this
this.
down. 82%. Gotcha.
The odds are in my favor. I've said it 3 times now. We've run it twice.
We've seen it happen ourselves.
Part of the problem is that Miami knows it too. They do the research. Heck, they're the ones that told us. I'm always getting yelled at. My producer says, get out in front of it. Tell us what's going to happen. I just told you twice and I was wrong. Now I'm gun shy.
All right, Nostradamus. Let's see right here. Third start inside. They're 10 this half. 2 tight ends.
There we go.
Oh, you're right. Oh, down he goes, a safety. Turned in by Randy Starks, and coming up, Jelani Jenkins. 5th sack on a Kansas City quarterback today. Six-point game.
Well, this is where the penetration comes. It's Jelani Jenkins, and it's Starks inside. And they're working in that A-gap between the center and the guard, and that is a mismatch. They don't do a good enough job passing it off. And it's never a good thing when you turn the fullback loose on a defensive tackle. Anthony Sherman's a good fullback, but you're asking a lot for him to block a 330-pound defensive tackle like Randy Starks.
Not only do they get the 2 points there to make it a 6-point game, but they're going to get the ball. That defensive front, and this is what Miami told us, dominated with the strength of our team, which is the defensive front. They've got to beat the Kansas City front. They've beaten them to a tune of 5 sacks today on quarterback Alex Smith.
Well, Kevin Coyle, defensive coordinator, told us we need to exploit our defensive front versus their offensive line. That's a matchup we need to win, and they've done it so far today. 5 sacks from that Miami defense.
Subsequent punt after the safety. Landry from the 10. Hartline offering a block. Good closing right there by Kelsey McCray. He's the one that committed the penalty on that last play, which made the Chiefs begin that last drive at the 1. 16-yard return. Well, tomorrow's the night for the Big Bang Theory season premiere. Don't miss 2 new back-to-back episodes on its new night. Tomorrow at 8, 7 Central. Only on CBS. Little momentum shift here.
My
perhaps.
goodness. Looks like a different team here in the second half. And again, we talked about how important that 2-minute drive was for Miami right before the half.
Lamar Miller. Into the secondary, brought down by Smith from behind, up to the 48-yard line with a run of 24 and a first down.
Well, we talk about keep an eye on the end man on the line of scrimmage. He's going to get sealed inside by the tackle. And he, for some reason, loops back inside, and they turn Lamar Miller loose around the corner.
A lot of people pointing at him. He went to Miami. He's from the area. He was a high draft pick 4 years ago. Really hadn't done much in his career, taking the place of Sean Moreno today and doing a great job. Miller again. Good block by Albert. That opened up some room. The tackle was made by Abdullah. It is a gain of 5 to the Kansas City 47.
You know, they were really counting on Lamar Miller and Daniel Thomas a season ago, and these guys underperformed. It's a big reason why they went out and got Sean Moreno. But now Lamar Miller looks like a different back today, Kevin. He's taken advantage of the opportunity. 12 carries, 92 yards.
And then Sims goes in the backfield right to the hands of Hartline on that 2nd down and 5. As Michael Johnson was part of the coverage there on Hartline, who caught a touchdown pass earlier in the game.
Little one-step slant.
It's funny how an offensive line, Rich, can take so much havoc, so much criticism, and almost sometimes in the course of a game kind of find whatever they need to find.
Find the rhythm and I think gain some confidence. You know, Kevin, 5 new starters along this offensive line for Miami. I know as a quarterback, that would make me very nervous.
Makes me nervous you just saying it. 3rd and 5 into the nickel. Daniel Thomas was back there. That was hit as he threw. Nice coverage by Abdullah. And they were going for Hartline. And Hartline was hit and is holding his arm as he comes off. It's incomplete, and they got a punt.
Well, it starts with the pressure. Tannehill can't really hold it, and that affects the throw. And because it's not a good throw, it doesn't get to Tannehill in time. Abdullah right there to knock it off.
Perhaps an extended elbow right there for Hartline. Pretty important receiver for this team. The punt coming from Brandon Fields. great height. Frankie Heyman Jr.
Oh, nice bounce.
It was indeed. And again, the Chiefs will be marooned inside the 5. 44-yard, well-placed punt by Brandon Fields, who is coming off a pretty dismal performance last week in Buffalo.
Well, we talked about the matchup that was going to be an important one in this game was Cameron Wake against this Kansas City offensive line. So what do? You run the ball right at him behind your big tackle and tight end, and you get 600 pounds on him. And then when he's had enough, you continue to do it again. You force him to come down. You kick out with your former first-rounder, Eric Fisher. And then if that's not enough, when he's dropping in coverage and matched up on the running back, so often we saw the backs run wide routes. They run right down the hill at him with that little angle route.
3 tight ends. That's where Davis runs. He gets through the grasp of Grimes, who slows him up. Wilson finishes him off. It's a gain of 7 for Niall Davis. He's up to the 10.
Well, it's important, Kevin, for Kansas City to realize they're still up in this football game, 21-15. They have not played well here in the third quarter, really in any phase of the game. But, just get your shorts back on straight. Just buckle down and realize that you still have a chance to win this football game. Kansas City can't afford to start 0-3.
Second down and 3. Ooh, is right. McGlynn was up ahead of him. No gain on the play. Jenkins and a couple others in there for the Dolphins, remaining at the 10-yard line. That's going to take us to the end of the third. Chiefs have started their last 3 drives inside the 10, at the 7, at the 1, and now at the 3. They're at the 10, and they'll come back with a third down and a couple to end the third. Smith with 2 touchdown passes, holding on to a 21-15 lead. We begin the fourth quarter from Miami with Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan. 3rd and 3 for the Chiefs at their 10.
Well, they haven't had a lot of luck with starting field position in the second half. Average start drive, the 10-yard line.
And they haven't thrown to their tight ends in the second half yet. How about here? McKnight in the backfield. They go to the tight end, Kelsey. And they get the first down. Hit initially by Finnegan. It's a pickup of 8. They get the first down up to the 18.
Kevin, you should start being an offensive coordinator. I mean, you're calling plays before they happen. How about these tight ends? Let's get them going. Kelsey in a little option route. He starts in. Cameron Wake, we talked about him. He just about beats the tackle around the corner.
McKnight closest to the line. And here's the quarterback keeper right here by the quarterback, Smith, with the fake to Cyrus Gray on a gain of 4 to the 23.
And he told us last night he likes to keep a couple of these during the game. He says it helps him. And he's not afraid to run with the football where there's traffic. And he's very smart at the end of runs, not taking unnecessary hits. That's why Andy Reid trusts him in these situations running the football.
So they pay him so much.
Pay him a lot. They don't pay him to get hit, though. I know that from experience.
Bo's not caught anything this hit. Second down and 6 from the 23. McKnight with a block by Avery, with a good beat out at the linebacker, Jelani Jenkins out of Florida. He's a leading tackler playing with the bad shoulder. They pick up 5 right there, put him at the 28.
This is just another way for Kansas City to get the ball to the edge of the defense. It's nothing more than a toss or a sweep play for them. They have all these quick bubble screens and quick little ways to get the ball into the hands of the backs in space.
Two tight end, McKnight in the backfield, 3rd and 2. Quick hitter to the hands of Bo. First time they've gone to him. It's slant, can't hold on. He makes a ton of money. He's got to hold on to those. They got to punt.
Well, I think a better throw there by Alex Smith. I mean, you can't miss him here. He's uncovered, and he just, well, that gets in on him quick. Maybe looking at that now, you got to Yeah, put that on Dwayne Bowe. When I first saw it, I thought it was a little low and inside. That's one that Bowe has to catch.
Well, they began that drive at the 3. They got a little bit of breathing space, though, now for the punt coming up from Colquitt. Landry is back. Long snap coming from Gafford. Like it hit Hemingway, and they down it at about the 32. 40-yard punt. Here come the Dolphins, down by 6. Plenty of time, plenty of timeouts at home. Well, last we saw Hardline, he was out. Now he's in. He had hurt his elbow, but back in there with that kind of padding is at the top of your screen. That's important for Tannehill, who's got a 1st and 10 after the Kansas City punt. Here comes Houston. And he's got it. Back at the 32. That's another sack. It's the 3rd by the Chiefs today. Poe has had a sack. Holly has had a sack. And Houston gets number 1.
Just up off the top of the screen. I mean, it's the speed rush that really kind of stuns Juwan James, their 1st-round pick out of Tennessee. You get a good look at Bob Sutton. When push comes to shove, he is going to bring pressure.
Chiefs have the nickel, 2nd down and 10. Miller. Ali brings him down. And up and near the 40-yard line in a burst of 7 for Lamar Miller.
You know, I think you go back to that last drive before the half. This offensive line, Kevin, has really played a lot better. And I think you look at Miller, he's just shy of 100 yards rushing. This is an offensive line. This is an offense that really struggled to run the football a year ago. That's why they went out and got Noshawn Moreno. A few new offensive linemen, including Brandon Albert and Juwan James, the number 1 pick, doing a much better job here running the football inside.
Chiefs have 6 in the secondary. 3rd and 3. Tannehill. Good looking catch for a 1st down right in front of Owens. It was made by Jarvis Landry. He picks up 4, and they move the chains to the 44.
Well, there's a reason why they took Jarvis Landry out of LSU. We've seen a lot of him today returning punts. He's getting more and more comfortable in the passing game. They're doing a good job moving him around. That last snap, they had him in the backfield.
It's a 1st and 10. Miller in the backfield. Clay come in. There's the hole. Tripped up on the play by Abdullah. It's a gain of 9 into Chiefs territory at the 47. Let's go to New York and James Brown.
A nasty Denver D.
Yeah, Denver defense stepping up big time here on the goal line. DeMarcus Ware, he's a new guy on that defense. Still holding up Marshawn Lynch. Denver Broncos gets the safety. Seattle still up 17-5, but the Broncos are coming back.
13:07 left in regulation. Kevin and Rich.
That's a beauty. Thank you, James. 2nd down and 1. Chiefs played in Denver last week, and they saw that Denver do themselves. Tannehill going deep and out of bounds, and the receiver gone out of bounds, too. That was a pass intended for Mike Wallace. Cooper was defending.
Well, they bring pressure, and Wallace is running a little bit of a double move, but he doesn't give the quarterback any room on the sideline. He actually runs out of bounds. You see the official's hat come in to mark the spot.
So what do you tell the receiver in a route like that?
Give me some space. I need 3 or 4 yards on the boundary, and Mike Wallace could have worked back up inside the corner as opposed to trying to go outside. These corners, you see Marcus Cooper there, they're smart. They're going to try and run you to the boundary.
3rd down and 1 with the tight end serving as the blocking back. Tannehill. The pocket goes down, and so does he. Owens, Abdullah. And at the bottom of the pile is Dontari Poe with his 2nd sack. The 4th by the defense. The Dolphins have got a punt.
Well, I love the fact you're going to see the safeties and corners are a part of this. They bring both Owens and Abdullah. And it's not always with the big defensive ends. You see these corners and safeties as well. They're willing to bring linemen, linebackers, and safeties and corner types. The pressures come from all over the place.
Fields will punt again. There's a flag. This is the 7th punt in 11 Miami possessions. Frankie Hammond Jr. at about the 3. He's got the seam, and he's got a blocker ahead. He gets a couple, in fact, with another flag thrown. So yellow on the field, and we'll see where this goes with a return of 47 yards and a punt of 46.
Was at the line of scrimmage.
Illegal substitution, offense. Correction, kicking team. Number 35 came off the bench and did not come inside the numbers. Therefore, it is an illegal substitution. That 5-yard penalty being added to the end of the return. First down, Kansas City.
Huge return, and now they will try to cash in. 9:14 in the fourth. Chiefs holding by 6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by the all-new 2015 Acura TLX. It's that kind of thrill.
Frank Hammond Jr.'s punt return of 47 yards means they'll be starting to drive in opponent territory for the first time this season. Multiple tight ends, 3 of them 1st and 10 from the Miami 44. Davis. He picks up 4. Trusnick brings him down at the 40 of the Dolphins. He has 103 yards on the ground, a career high, his first 100-yard rushing game, taking the place of the injured Jamal Charles.
Well, he really has done a nice job shouldering the load in the running game, and in the passing game, he's done a nice job out of the backfield. And Andy Reid has a lot of confidence in him. You got that sense last night when we sat down with the head coach. He said Jamal Charles is not going to play, but we feel really good about Niall Davis. We can run the entire offense with him in the game.
Kelsey in the slot, 2nd and 6. Fasano to the 30. Drilled by Jenkins. 10-yard catch. First down, Chiefs.
Kevin, you mentioned a moment ago, this is the first possession the Chiefs have started in the plus territory all year after leading the league last year with 38 of them. And the big reason why was the play of their defense. They created a lot of short fields. They created a lot of turnovers. Kansas City's defense doesn't have a single turnover this season. And it's guys like Houston and Holly that do such a good job coming off the edge, knocking that ball out. They haven't had those type of impact plays on defense.
First down and 10. Sherman the block, and now they go to the other tight end. Kelsey trying to hurdle. Like Edwin Moses. Not quite as high, though, and he hit the chart. Finnegan allowing only a gain of 7 on the play, down to the 23.
Sometimes I don't know what gets into these players. If they're watching highlights on TV and they see somebody else do it, they say, you know what, I'm going to add that to my repertoire. Not a good thing to leave your feet.
Oh, it's fun to watch.
You usually get hurt.
Yeah, Finnegan's a tough one.
And the reason they normally do that is because these smaller corners try and cut these bigger players. They go down low, and these tight ends like Kelsey know it.
2nd and 3 into the nickel for Smith from the 23. Hemingway will dance and finally get brought down by Wake. He's got a first down catch and run to the 17. It's a gain of 6.
Well, you just can't afford a sack or a negative play here if you're Alex Smith. You know that a field goal makes it a two-score game, but they're not thinking field goal in this situation. I mean, a touchdown, the way they're moving the football and the way they're playing defense, they've got a good chance to ice it if they can come away with a touchdown in this part of the field.
Jamar Taylor has just come in the secondary. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. Davis in there, and there's Trusnick. Also in there with the tackle of Johnny Jenkins, and it's a gain of 2 near the 15-yard line of Miami.
And good teams, Kevin, know how to finish on offense. Put a team away when you have the opportunity. Don't let them hang around. You look at the running back comparison today, both backs, Niall Davis, Lamar Miller, doing an excellent job filling in for Jamal Charles and Noshawn Moreno. I mentioned been just as effective in the passing game as well. Both have done a nice job out of the backfield.
Chiefs have run 3 minutes off the clock. Again, they got 3 tight ends. 2nd down and 8. Niall Davis slashing free. He's got the first down. We think he's near the 6. Let's see where they spot the ball. Maybe the 7. He picks up 7 on the play. He has run the ball so well, right? They're very, very close to the first down.
Well, when you have these big bodies over here, Kevin, everybody's going to block down. And we saw this play earlier in the game And if it works, you come right back to it. Miami has had no answer for that personnel grouping in that run. You get those big tight ends on the line of scrimmage and you have them blocked down. And allows that running back to get on the edge.
3rd and 1. Lincoln Bach is an extra blocker, and he's going to give a block here for the fullback Sherman, who plows his way for the first down. Gain of 4 to the 4. 1st and goal. The clock continues to tick, and the Chiefs are nursing a 6-point lead.
Well, you know, you look at this situation. This is demoralizing. They're just running the ball right down the middle of this Miami defense that historically has been pretty good at stopping the run. And Joe Philbin talking about using a timeout.
They've got 3.
You got to start thinking about saving some time. He's signaling to the official he may want one after this play.
They took over with 9:14. Upcoming is the 8th play. 1st and goal at the 4. The pitch out Davis. The block by Fisher. Comes out of real estate across the way, hit by a couple, including Wilson. No gain on the play. 2nd down and goal.
Now Joe Philbin here, he's over there talking to the official about wanting to take a timeout. You got a break there by Niall Davis. You'd like to think he could stay on the field, Kevin, understanding the situation in the game. Keep that clock running. Make Miami start burning those timeouts.
McKnight is in. 2nd and goal at the 4. Smith. McKnight, touchdown. McKnight is caught his 2nd touchdown pass here in Miami. The 3rd thrown by Alex Smith, and the Chiefs have gone on top 27-15.
Well, keep an eye on Jason Trusnick. He's got to cover the back, and look, he's not in position. He's outflanked already, and he's late getting to the flat. That's just too easy for the Chiefs.
Four-yard touchdown pass. The one earlier to McKnight, 11. He had a 20-yard touchdown pass to Kelsey back late in the first half. And the Chiefs are going to go for 2.
Up by 12. The card tells you to go for 2. That was a really impressive drive by Andy Reid and the Chiefs.
9 plays, 4.5 minutes. The 2-point try and incomplete. Bo is there, and it may have been tipped by Brent Grimes. Of the Chiefs lead 27-15. Good looking drive. It was set up on a punt return of 47 yards by Frankie Hammonds Jr. Even the absence of Jamal Charles, their elite player, and it's not even close, who's 2nd best. A lot of guys have stepped up, like Joe McKnight. Off the street they signed, didn't even play last year. With 6 catches, 64 yards, 2 touchdown receptions.
He has been terrific, as has Niall Davis. Kevin, 27 carries, 112 yards, and a touchdown.
Landry, that was blown up by Kelsey McCray, special teams-wise for the Chiefs. 14-yard return. The early headlines today. How about Macklin? Part of what has been a great start. 3-0 for Philadelphia. Kirk Cousins, by the way, played very well for the Redskins. The Cowboys have won 2 consecutive games on the road. People did not see that. And Andy Dalton, 2nd consecutive home win. They won to begin the season in Baltimore. They are 3-0. He's got the big new contract and part of the interesting stories in Week 3 of the NFL.
He also had a really good defense in Cincinnati. We saw that firsthand last week.
3 timeouts for Miami, down 27-15, Tannehill. And he's got Clay for the first time in the second half, and he is hit by a host of players, including Coleman. Grabbed by Ali, gets up to about the 23-yard line and picks up 7 on the play.
Well, Charles Clay has been really quiet. Really came on for them last year with 69 catches. Got the ability to separate from defenders. He's really good after the catch, but he's been very quiet here today.
2nd down and 2, and outside Clay once again. Banged again by Coleman. That time the clock will stop at 4:05. The 3 timeouts in their pocket. He picks up 6 after getting 7 moments ago. It is a first down for Miami.
Well, down by 12, 2 scores. They've got to play fast. Sense of urgency. They've got those timeouts left, but other ways to stop the ball offensively. But they've got to get in and out of the huddle after a completion in the field of play.
Chiefs have 6 in the second here. 1st and 10 on the 29. And almost intercepted on the play by Smith. They were looking for the receiver, Brandon Gibson. It is incomplete to our CBS studios in New York and James Brown.
Denver capitalizes on a Seahawk turnover.
Yeah, and right here you're going to see Peyton do the old shovel pass to Julius Thomas. With that pass, that's 498 career touchdowns for Peyton Manning, 10 away from tying Brett Favre for the all-time mark. 17-12 Seattle. Here it comes Denver.
9:09 left in regulation. Back to Kevin and Rich.
A little different the second time around, isn't it?
A little
much closer game.
Second down and 10. Tannehill right on the screws as he gets that one off for the first time today to Rashard Matthews. Only his second catch of the season. It was a 2nd and 10. He picks up 13 and he's up to the 42.
Well, the clock's still running because he wasn't going forward on the boundary.
With the 1st and 10. Tannehill, that was almost picked off. Yep, look at your hands. Chris Owens, the nickelback, just about had that ball. 2nd down and 10.
Well, you got to be careful. You got to feel these flat defenders trying to buzz out underneath these outbreaking routes. Miami's trying to get the ball to the sidelines and stop the clock. Kansas City doing a good job trying to force things back inside where they have help.
Tannehill with the 2nd down and 10. He is 19 to 37, 186 and a touchdown pass and no picks today. He has been sacked 4 times. 2nd down and 10. Good block by the right tackle James. Time for Tannehill. This is another completion down near the 45-yard line with the tackle made by Coleman. A flag has been thrown on the play. It was caught by Landry.
Number 64 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Center Samson Satelli taking the place of the injured All-Pro center Mike Pouncey.
Well, you're going to see him right in the middle of your screen. He's going to be working to his left. And he's got some help inside initially, but then he just, right there, he gets the hand outside and they grabs Jersey. And they're not going to miss that, making it difficult on Vance Walker.
2nd down and 20. Still 6 in the secondary for the Chiefs. And Tannehill running up, going deep, and incomplete. Looking for Landry, and he had coverage in front and in back. You know, when you look at a Kansas City performance without so many important players on both sides of the football, you were talking earlier, Rich, about the game they played in San Diego with a lot of backups last year.
It's amazing, and that's one of the things that Andy Reid brought up to these players is that we went out to San Diego in Week 17 last year, and we played without 20 starters and really won that football game, and we made a field goal at the end. So they don't use that as an excuse. Think about this defense. They're missing DeVito up front, Derek Johnson on the 2nd level, and Eric Berry back in the secondary. So a key player from each level of the defense, and they're still playing well.
That's another, well, he gets the ball away, but to no one. Houston was around his waist and others on that 3rd and 20. Now 4th and 20.
Well, you look at these missing starters, it's amazing. And Derek Johnson, a player like that it's not just the plays that he makes, it's the plays that he doesn't give up because of his speed. DeVito, tough guy inside. Jamal Charles, Eric Berry. Look at that, 355 total starts, 9 Pro Bowl appearances. And Kansas City still able to go on the road and maybe get a win if they can hold on with 3:09 in the 4th.
6 defensive backs, 4th and 20. They need the Chiefs 48 for the 1st down. That's a long way to go. Tannehill, batted down again. It may have been Bailey. Allen Bailey may have gotten a paw in that passing lane. It's a ball going back to the Chiefs on downs, stopping a 4th and 20. And the defense putting their fingerprints on this one. Bailey playing tennis inside.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Subway Restaurants. Hurry in for the $5 footlong Italian BMT. Subway, eat fresh.
Well, the Chiefs had come in as the lone remaining playoff team from a season ago, not to win. They're on that track right now, but you can see since 90 how few teams that have started 0-3 have gone into the postseason, just a couple.
So you're saying the odds weren't very good at this time?
Odds were not very good. Remember now, Miami's got all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Here's a 1st and 10 handoff to Davis, who was grabbed initially by Earl Mitchell, and he loses 2, and a timeout will be taken, and the ball back to the 34. With a look at Joe Philbin, one-time Green Bay offensive coordinator. Speaking of Green Bay, we talked to Mike McCarthy the other day, and he wanted to send his best wishes to a coach back in Kansas. You know, Mike played tight end at Baker University. Mike Grosner, Baker University coach, the NAIA school, who's a good friend of Mike. He's in a tough battle right now. His team is playing great football. And Mike McCarthy wanted to say hi to the Baker U coach, Mike Grosner, in Baldwin City, Kansas. Small school football. Rich, you played at a smaller school in Delaware.
I did. Mike never forgot his roots.
2nd down and 12.
Oh, ball's out.
Grimes, and that is a fumble, and it's recovered by Miami. And this is how things turn at the 28-yard line. It's the 2nd turnover for the Chiefs. Looks like Trosnick is the one to vacuuming it in. And a turnover right there. And again, Miami with a couple timeouts and the 2-minute warning.
Well, this is the same play we saw 3 or 4 times now from Kansas City. But this time, Brent Grimes, he recognizes it, and he crashes in there quickly. And he's able to rip and strip this ball. They work on this every day in practice, ball extraction. And remember now, earlier in the game, Niall Davis put one on the ground. He was able to recover his own fumble. But a huge play there. No, an alert play by the veteran Grimes. Well, they need a quick score. If you need a quick score, I think you have to find this guy right here.
And number 11.
Mike Wallace.
1st and 10 from the 28. Tannehill going deep, and they were looking for Wallace. You called it, Rich. Coverage by a couple, including Smith. It'll be 2nd down and 10. But the flag is thrown.
Yeah, but look at the cushion Kansas City has given Wallace. They are not going to let him.
Holding. Number 7 to the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
Rookie Jawan James out of Tennessee, their number 1 pick.
He has had his hands full today with Justin Houston. Justin has been using the speed rush all day, and he's got the ability to also do that bull rush. Done a nice job mixing it up on the rookie tackle.
He pushes the ball back to the 18 where it's 1st down and 20. Make it 1st and 20. Clay looking for some blocking. Got it up front from Dallas Thomas, but then they convert his Vance Walker among a couple to get him after a gain of 7 yards. He is up to the 25.
You know, it's so deep. It's so hard to get the ball deep downfield, Kevin. The linebackers are lined up at 7, 8, 9 yards. They're dropping quickly. Look at the corners, how far off they're playing in coverage.
Into the dime, underneath. On 2nd and 13, it's Miller. Hit by Coleman, hit on the play by Mauga. It's a pickup of 12.
They're going to force you to check and work the ball underneath to the backs and tight ends.
3rd down and 1 from the 37. Tannehill, incomplete, looking for the tight end, Sims. Coverage by Abdullah. Now 4th down.
Kind of a frustrating day for Joe Philbin. I mean, they didn't start well. They made a nice push in the 3rd quarter, and then, but again, just too many mistakes, Kevin. It's a mistake, it's a penalty, it's a missed assignment. They're not good enough right now to overcome all the mistakes.
Chiefs have just taken a timeout. That is their first of the half. They've got 2 left. Miami has got 2 left in this game. Well, Thursday, your football week starts here. It's a bitter rivalry between the Giants and the Redskins. Another big-time matchup in prime time. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network and CBS.
Talk about new play callers. Both those teams, Giants with Ben McAdoo and Jay Gruden calling plays for the Washington Redskins. There's a good look at Bill Lazor talking to Joe Philbin.
McAdoo, another Green Bay assistant. With down and 1. Tripped up. Nice play, and that was D. Ford. He's had a couple, and Couple nice defensive plays today. No gain on the play, and on downs it goes back to the Chiefs. So they don't draw any blood after that fumble.
They don't even block D Ford. I don't know how you do that, Kevin. You've got a defensive end on the line of scrimmage, and you turn them loose.
It's the second consecutive series that Miami loses the ball on downs. With a second before the 2-minute warning, D Ford, a guy they're trying to nurture and bring along with Holly in a big contract next year. He may not be re-signed. There may be his heir apparent right there to couple with Houston on the other side, who they will re-sign.
He was one of the best pass rushing defensive ends in college football a year ago down there at Auburn. Again, three tight ends. Now they're going to move one.
Davis is over 100 yards on the ground with a first down and 10. Burrows free, submarines down to the 33, brought down on the play by Mitchell. 2-minute warning. Chiefs are zeroing over their first win of the season. Dolphins had that opening weekend win over New England right here, but right now they're close to their second consecutive loss.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier for them as they have to pack the bags and head overseas and play the Oakland Raiders in London. It'll be a difficult preparation travel week for the Dolphins.
Tally-ho, second down and 7. Tackle by Grimes on Davis to the 29. 4-yard pickup. Timeout Miami. So one left for the Dolphins. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS brings regional action your way. In one matchup, the Panthers or Ravens, Dolphins and Raiders, while the Jaguars tangle with the Chargers. Local listings begin with JB, Tony Bart, Coach Boomer, and the NFL today. Presented by Southwest Airlines.
The Raiders gave the Patriots all they could handle today in Foxborough before losing to Brady and Belichick.
Are they better, Raiders?
No. They got some real issues.
No, really. Tell me how you feel.
Their defense isn't very good, and they can't run the football, and they're starting a rookie quarterback, Derek Carr.
Third down 4. Multiple tight ends, one of which gives a block, and that opens the door. Here comes Davis. First down, the stiff arm, and a Chiefs.
Stay in bounds.
Yep, the Chiefs will get the first. It's a run of 14 yards by Niall Davis. 131 today. In the absence of Jamal Charles to New York and James Brown.
Kevin, how good is that Seattle defense?
Oh, that Seattle defense is balling right here. Peyton Manning drops back, tries to hit the vertical seam to Wes Welker. Cam Chancellor picks him off. That's Peyton Manning's first pick all year. Couldn't have come at a worse time. Seattle up 17-12.
2:12 left in regulation. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon.
Chancellor's a good one. Big win if they go on to do it for the Seahawks after the loss last week in San Diego. McKnight. Make it Cyrus Gray. Cyrus Gray will bring it up and pick up 6 on the play to the 10. They're going to give Davis a blow, and the Chiefs will try to hold on to it. Miami does have a timeout remaining. Big day for Davis.
Really a huge day. 32 carries for 132 yards. He was the workhorse for the Chiefs. He did a really nice job, Kevin. There's some big shoes to fill when you talk about Jamal Charles, who accounts for so much of the Chiefs' offense.
Second down, long 5, Gray. Tackled by Jenkins with a gain of 4. Near the 6. About a yard shy of a first down. Clock continues to tick. Dolphins do have that timeout, but it looks like they are not going to call it.
I think Andy Reid had a terrific day. He just did a really nice job calling plays. He was aggressive. Did some really good things, I think, formationally. You look at the 3 tight end set. That was an effective one for him when they put all those tight ends on the right side of the offensive line. The thing that I've always liked about Andy Reid, they have plays that look the same but are different. It's very difficult for a defense.
One more snap right here with Alex Smith. 3rd and 1. Gray, another touchdown. Cyrus Gray, a 6-yard touchdown run. And the Chiefs have put it on ice. And they'll come out of Miami with a win, the first of the year.
Well, when you see these 2 big guys get up and block, you know that ball's heading right downhill. Eric Fisher's done a really nice job today, Kevin. You talk about being athletic. A nice job pulling him from that left tackle position. That's some good quickness for a big man.
Chiefs had 174 yards on the ground today. Here's Santos, the first Brazilian-born player on a NFL roster, which is a big deal down here. And his family have come all the way from Brazil to watch him kick and watch their Chiefs win in Miami. 174 yards on the ground today. They had 131 against Denver last week.
They looked really sharp. And a good look at the family, huh? How about that? That's kind of cool, isn't it? Made the trip here today. See the rookie.
He had been under some scrutiny too because he missed a couple of field goals. Yeah. Of course, they didn't need him today, and he
responded.
He did. Chiefs are going to kick off. 13 seconds to play. Well, tonight on 60 Minutes, a report that'll help you better understand the terror group ISIS. Then the premiere of Madam Secretary, followed by an all-new Good Wife, plus an encore presentation of Madam Secretary. Only CBS.
I saw the previews for Madam Secretary. It's going to be a good one. I had the wife TiVo it so I could get home tonight and watch it. Yes.
I know you did.
Love that show.
And it'll be picked up by one of the offensive linemen for Miami, Nate Gardner, who got it short. Returns at 12. 7 seconds to play. And the Chiefs go to 1-2, and Miami will go to 1-2.
I think you're still finding out about your football team this early in the season. And I think Miami realizes that they've got to be better in the passing game. Plenty of blame to go around. The protection's got to get better up front. They need to be more detailed and precise at the wide receiver position. And everyone needs to do a better job catching the football.
Daniel Thomas will run it, and that'll be it. So Alex Smith, 19 of 25, 3 touchdown passes. It's 7 different receivers. For Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan, so long from Miami. The Chiefs go to 1-2. The Dolphins drop to 1-2. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. As now we take you live to our CBS studios in New York and James Brown.